What's the best story you've ever heard, or what's the most interesting one? And I always tell yours because I've never forgotten it, and I'm not going to say anything about it because I'm going to let you tell the story. So take it away. Tell us how it all came about.
Yeah, so I was working in the city as an insurance broker and had been for 35 years. The corporate world was probably getting me down a little bit, and I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, but didn't really have the drive or, in fact, the financial ability to buy into a business or to set up a business.
Yeah.
Sadly, my mother passed away in March 2017. She had a long life, so that's absolutely fine.
Yes.
And when we were going through her financials, it appeared that there was an amount of money paid into her account. She had no money paid into her account, and it turned out that she'd won the lottery.
Yeah.
The week after she had died.
That's amazing.
And when I say the lottery, we're not talking millions here, but it was enough for me to set up my business.
Yeah,
which was an amazing thing. The only thing I would say about that, Nick, is my birthday, which is one of the numbers, was the only one that didn't come in. Now, if I had had another birthday, perhaps the 16th, not the 18th, I could have set up a bigger business.
On Instagram making millions and then driving all these flash cars around, is that real, or are they making it up, or what?
Hey, look, I mean, there are traders out there that sort of like make a lot of money from it. I mean, I'm not going to deny that. They will be from probably very fortunate backgrounds in terms of somehow they've been capitalized to be able to create that wealth sort of thing. Like my sort of, again, my theory and the views that I try and get across to people is like, you're not going to turn £1,000 into £1 million. Certainly not in the sort of time that they profess to be able to, because if you could, then everyone would be able to do it.
A stereotype with Will writing that you're going to go to a solicitor and it's perhaps going to be a kind of stuffy old man. He's going to sit there, with the leather sort of clipboard, as it were, pile of books, and you're going to feel a bit uncomfortable, out of place, and not happy talking about your sort of personal wishes. And I want to be the opposite. I want to either come to see you at your home, or you come to see me, or obviously if it's remote, it's over Zoom with the power of technology these days. But I want you to feel comfortable talking about whatever you want to talk about. If there's an issue you'd like to, talk to me about in a sort of therapeutic way, we can do that, and then it leads me on to helping you think about your wishes, what you're wanting in your will, or your LPA, of course, but more likely with a will that there might be sort of family issues that need to be looked into.
The angle that you take with people, which is the most important part of the business, pretty much, is from what you're saying. Yeah. You read a book, or you mentioned this in your presentation about Stephen Covey, the Seven Habits. Yeah. So that inspired you, or did you learn a lot from that? Would you recommend that?
I'm lucky the things I read resonate the way I think. Yeah. Sometimes I don't really understand what I think.
Okay.
And then you read a book like Stephen Covey. Oh, that's how.
And that's sort of solidified.
Oh, right, got it now.
Okay.
And I'm very a transactional person. It's a yes or a no. Do I get it? No. Well, what does it mean? And so Covey was, for me, was for the reader to listen. I don't want to bore you with the book, right? No. I'd advise you to read it. And it just talks about the seven or so things that successful people, or people that are contented and happy in their lives, tend to do.
Right. Yeah.
More often than others. Yeah. And the two or three things I always think of in my mind: one is start with the end in mind.
Yeah. Okay.
Where do you want to be?
Yeah.
And that theoretically then determines how you're going to get there.
Yeah.
And the other one is another one called sharpen your saw.
Okay.
And a sharpening your saw is you're constantly trying to either improve yourself every day, or improve what you do every day, or improve and help your people every day.
Okay, yeah.
So every day is better than the day before.
How can you help people with e-commerce? I guess it's the same thing, but I think you've got sort of special software that you use which goes into their Shopify or those sites like that.
Yeah, exactly. So, you're right about e-commerce. Interesting. The UK market is actually the third biggest global market for e-commerce transactions after the US and China. Wow. So that's quite a...
Everyone's jumping on it.
Yeah, they have, because of the convenience and so on, which is good. And not only sort of retail business to consumer type shipping, but also B2B, sort of business to business type. Of course. Because people recognise that there's a new opportunity. And it sort of brings potentially global suppliers and global customers to a business, and it also makes the domestic market very really a local market, because your shop window is on your laptop, sort of thing. So it's brought that, but it's made it very competitive as well.
Okay.
Because it's obviously very easy for people to set up. So it's more a battle of how good your ranking is on SEO. You know, how easy you are to do business with. And back to this customer service thing, you know, customer service is absolutely key. And if you're not there, then somebody else will. will
doing up the properties side of things. I've said that in layman's terms. Tell us, because you're excited about that and you like that part of it.
Everybody loves that. I'm quite famous for sort of saying, if you open the door and it smells of cat wee, think of me. That's one of my strap lines. But basically, that sort of stems from a kind of a want, if you like, to sort of make sure that we had income that was sustainable and maybe passive outside of our actual normal salary, if you like, back in the day. So probably, I mean, 2010, after the last, after the financial crash, I'll say the last one, hopefully there won't be another one.
No.
So after the financial crash, obviously properties did dip in price, and I was just in a position where we managed to pick up something quite cheap. It really needed a lot of work on it. It's the original cat wee smelly property.
Is it?
The business model was brilliant. Like, I bought it, did it up, we refinanced it, got most of our money back out of it, and then we had an income. Obviously after tax and mortgage, we were about £300 a month better off, and I just thought, this is a really good system. But it is quite slow, because you've got to obviously build up a pot of money and the rest of it. So the key is to make sure that you're buying it kind of under market value, because it needs work doing to it. Doing the work and then refinancing it so you get your money back out. And otherwise you've got to keep building it. So we don't really look for mint condition properties, or we call them turnkey, like turn a key and sit down. We're more looking for dilapidated or unloved or distressed or whatever, whether that's a short lease from a leasehold property or something that needs some work, it's got subsidence, or just is really out of date and not really rental ready.
What's it like working with your husband?
We still like each other at the moment, so it's all good.
At the moment,
No, I mean, if I could work with anyone, obviously I love working with Mark. You know, we've always got on, we always communicate, so it just seemed the perfect opportunity to be able to do something together. And I think we work well with each other. You know, he's very good at the skill set that he's got, and he's amazing at what he does. And I've always done what I've done within the business, so it didn't change for me as much. But for Mark, it was just a great opportunity, and he thrives in the sales side and the marketing and people skills and all of that. So it works really well.
Because he's got those sort of different strengths that fit into each other. If you were both the same, it wouldn't work, would it? Because you've got different.
Exactly. You know, with us in the background, obviously, we've got the engineers that are out every day. A great group of guys. And there's Mark and I in the helm back in the office behind the computers doing
and we are truly 24/7 365. So we never switch off, and we pride ourselves on our response times.
When you never switch off, does that mean that you never go on holiday? Does that mean you don't have a private life? What does that mean?
Just about
you work with your wife as well, don't you?
Exactly. I have the pleasure. It's the commitment we made.
Yes, of course.
We knew it was going to be a big task, but after years of working for other people, I knew it was something we wanted to do. Laura, as you know, has got 18 years experience in the business, and it was just a natural transition. So it's been good. We don't switch off very often. We tend to get away Christmas, New Year in between that little quiet period.
That's nice, that downtime, isn't it? Because no one's working.
Exactly. Good but time. We still have guys on call. So
of course, You know, what do you enjoy about it the most?
Meeting new clients, working with the staff, love the staff, love our team. You know, the team's a big key.
You can't do anything without a good team, can you?
No. So that's a big focus for us, really, is having a really good team in the background. But meeting new clients, especially I would say my passion, start up new businesses to actually watch them flourish.
Sort of hold their hand all the way through to make sure they get
the way through.
The people thing is so important because people buy from people. And if you build relationships with people, you trust them and then you use them. And I think that's a really good approach. Top marks. Now, you're a singer as well, aren't you? So it says on your website, on the website.
I forgot that was on there. Well, that's what I like to do. I love to sing.
Sure,
do you want a rendition?
Go for it,
No, I'm just kidding. No.
I thought that was going to be the first on the podcast I've ever sing along. I love singing, but I'm not very good at it. But it does make you happy, doesn't it?
It does.
Puts a smile on your face.
Like this morning, I drove to work and I had a bit of Whitney on, and I just thought, just makes you feel good, as well as the sunshine.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great team. There's eight permanent staff.
Right. Let's talk about the team. Yeah.
There's a number of casual staff that work as and when, especially in the holidays. We need staff up for the holiday clubs, and volunteers. What charity can't run without volunteers?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
So we depend on an awful lot of volunteers to make it all happen. Yeah, the staff here that came up with calling them our 3 stars.
That's really good, isn't it?
And it works well for us.
And your customers, so who are they? Give me an idea of an average customer. It's anyone, isn't it, that really feels they need some skin help?
Yeah, basically we get the young teenagers that really suffer with acne.
Okay, you help that, yeah?
Yeah, with our laser treatments and other topical creams that we can give them. Because obviously I'm a prescriber, so I can do that. To 80-year-olds.
Okay, bless them.
Obviously want to see Charlie for some beauty treatments, or even sometimes me as well, just to get rid of some fine lines or anything like that.
It's anyone, Bruce, basically.
Anyone, but my ideal client,
shall
I say.
Yeah, do it.
Right?
Yeah.
Over 35 that have lost their foundations of their cheeks.
Okay.
And that makes them look older than they actually are.
Okay.
Or they've lost a lot of weight and the foundation of their cheeks have gone, which makes them look a bit older than what they are. So that would be my ideal client, because cheek fillers are my favourite treatment to do.
Okay, everyone out there that needs some cheek fillers,
get
yourself down here to Seaford.
100%. Seriously, it makes you look 10 years old. Sorry, 10 years younger.
Yes,
10 years younger in 10 minutes.
Excellent.
A 10-minute treatment.
10 years younger in 10 minutes. That's got to be value for money, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Last 2 years.
Now, you sort of found a little bit of a niche in booking systems, didn't you, a while ago? Talk us through that and how you help people with those.
Well, in the early days of the business, when I was working from home, was doing it full time, and then the credit crunch came when all of a sudden banks were no longer lending money to anyone, and the days when your cat could get a mortgage and all of a sudden nobody could get a mortgage, and the devastating impact that had on business is that as a lot of people that were in business at the time remember, there's just no sales, no money, no nothing.
Yeah.
And so I had a few clients, not enough to really earn a full-time living, and it was a case of either, I ride this storm and, or fiddle my thumbs, but I decided the best thing to do was to develop a product which would take 3-4 months, and I thought, probably at the end of the year, the new year, the business will turn around and stuff will come in. So I decided to create a product that I could then resell in the new year.
Okay.
So I went overdrawn quite a bit, but then in the new year, the product was finished and I started selling it, and then gradually the overdraft kind of disappeared. So it was a success.
Okay.
The system that I created was a booking system for bed and breakfast.
Right. Okay.
And in those days, they didn't exist. Nowadays, you have all sorts of systems, bookings.com, and a package called Avivo that's quite popular.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
But in those days, if you had, bookings, they would email you or call you. And a lot of bookings from America, they would email you in the middle of the night. And then in the morning, you'd wake up and see all these emails and you reply to them. But they'd already booked somewhere else. So for our clients, the American bookings was a problem because they weren't getting them.
Yeah.
And once they got the booking system, the Americans could see that they could book on the spot, pay deposit, and they got more bookings. And so that's how we started, and that was before bookings.com came into existence. So we hit the booking market quite early.
I think I'm right in saying that you were interviewed by The Telegraph recently about toxic cultures regarding the Workers' Protection Bill. So tell us what it is and how it affects employers.
Well, one of the issues that we're coming across increasingly is, I suppose, staff that are unhappy about the environments they're working in. And in the past, I suppose pre-#MeToo, staff would not raise issues in the same way because they were fearful of losing their job or facing recrimination, some sort of negative action being taken against them. And so what you end up happening is you end up with perhaps having somebody who is at the top of a business who has created a culture that's become quite toxic because people live in fear. So they're not prepared to report. What ends up happening is you have an environment that people are unhappy working in. So clearly if they're unhappy, they're going to be demotivated. Productivity is going to drop off. But actually what also happens is you lose your best
staff. Let's go in, because it was last August we did the podcast.
Yes.
You told me a few things that have happened along the way, which I've been so proud about. And you've been so kind to mention them at networking meetings we've been at, and about the good response you've had. Let's just run through
Yes, we've had some amazing results. We had a major retailer contact us. I can't mention the name, unfortunately, but taking their managers out for a walk and wine tasting, which was very nice. Yeah. We've also had an inquiry from Belgium, which again is good because it gets us into the international market, and they're an events company, so hopefully things from that will grow.
Yes.
We've also had an inquiry which was last year, but it's turned into business this year, which is a huge accountancy practice in London. They're taking all their staff out for a walking wine tasting tour, and that's just materialised now, and we're doing that in about 2 weeks' time. And that's 24 of their members of their staff.
That's amazing.
That's quite good. And several other small tours, small group tours as well. So it's been definitely worthwhile. It's definitely grown the business, and I can recommend it to anyone.
Thanks, mate. I really appreciate it. You can walk me through a typical day, when it starts and how it ends.
So we normally open the Casbah at 9:30.
Yes.
So the Casbah is our hub.
Yes.
It's the social centre.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we'll do Wednesday morning we'll do cooking.
Okay.
In the Atkinson, and we'll make our own supper.
Okay.
And then we'll have yoga in the afternoon after lunch, and then it's normally a bit of art and craft.
Okay.
We're very, very arts and crafty.
Yeah.
So we got card making this afternoon.
Right. Okay.
We made all the bits for carnival to attach to the wheelchairs.
Yeah.
All the horses and the carriages.
Yeah. And how do you sort of select who gets involved? Is there a timetable, like some residents will, some don't? Or?
Yeah, we do an overall timetable based on what we hold a meeting with the residents, and we say, what would you like to do? What would you like to achieve?
Yeah.
And then we put together an overall timetable, and then you have one-to-one wellbeing time, don't you, where they sit with certain individuals that maybe not be group-based but want to do their own thing, and then they set up a timetable for that person separately. So there's normally quite a few timetables running alongside each other to meet all of their needs and all of their sort of requests of how they want to spend their day.
Absolutely amazing.
Tell us why Number One Community Trust. Why are you supporting them?
Okay, when they asked me to become ambassador, I had no idea what this place was. Yeah. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know where it was. And I was taken there, and I met the people there, the people in charge of it. And I was bowled over. Wow. First of all, it's a deprived area.
Yes.
It's an area where people don't have a lot, but you wouldn't think it was there in Tunbridge Wells, because the moment you think of Tunbridge Wells, you think the Penthouse, you think all these beautiful homes. Yeah. It's not like that. It is a huge community, a close community. What is important is what they can, they need help with. Like, give you an example. We've had a terrible time through winter. It was either heating or it was food.
Yes, yeah.
Now, we help people come in, we subsidise food, we give people lunches all the year through, we have people in, we get children, we got elders, so it can be all sorts of people. And so basically, I've just been given this number one. Yes, I'll do that in a minute, absolutely. Now, so basically what we're doing is we're trying to raise
it is well renowned because of the name, but also because, which I love, is the colours, the different colours that you offer.
Well, I'll tell you how that came about, Nick, because the corporate colour was the black with the gold straps.
That's it.
People think it's yellow. It's actually a gold. It was our own Pantone.
Right.
So that's what made it very distinctive. And when I joined the company, we had 4 colours available.
Okay.
We had like a cobalt blue, mint green, and a burgundy red. which were okay.
Yeah.
They were okay. Didn't pull up any trees.
Yeah.
And then we had the granite, but we called it Hard Rock. We rebranded it called Hard Rock.
Oh, right, okay.
You know, and it's something a bit more so like industrious and whatever. It was fully lined.
Yeah.
And as the years went by, we were getting more and more demand for people saying, "Do you offer any other colours?" So I said to the owner, because they use different colours in the other brand and the other company.
Yeah.
We've got access to sort of like, you know, the salt bins on the side of the road, which is a yellow colour.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We've got access to that. We've got white, we get pink, we get dark blue, we get dark green. So why don't we investigate and bring colours on board? Because I think this would be good for backline companies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we were dealing with people like Matt Snowball's then, John Henry's, London Drum Company. And I know the guys down at London Drum Company had like several kits, like a Yami 9000 or a Sona kit or a Ludwig kit. And I'm thinking, I might put one in green, one set of cases, one in red cases. And when they go on the road, I know where it's gone.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's how it all came about.
That's awesome, yeah.
They just decided, but then we opened it to the public and people went, "We love the colours, keep it going, and it's great." So we now got, including black, we've got 12 colours altogether.
Yeah.
And it gives I suppose it's giving the consumer a choice.
A choice. Sounds like you cut your teeth really in almost every single part of building and construction that there is.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
but the knowledge, the advice I got given at the beginning from Trevor was not a bricklayer.
Yeah,
carpenter was the best advice I was ever given, because carpenters always got to have involvement with the brickies when setting out the foundations, and then obviously when the walls are going up, putting the windows in, putting the roof on, then speaking to the electricians and plumbers inside. So it all made sense. The carpenters are normally site managers on the project. And from there onwards, we was always the main contractor. So it was just natural for us to do our own project.
Talk us through a typical project that you worked on.
So there was some great projects. One of my favourite projects was one that I did in Covent Garden for a client of mine that I'd worked for on several occasions in their other home, which was more local to me. And basically they bought this split level apartment, and they knew they wanted to refurb it so they could live there, and it was very, very tight. It had been a rental property for a long time.
Okay.
And so I worked with them, I designed it all, and then I project managed the construction team that they brought in, and worked alongside them to get the project finished.
Yeah.
And furnished it all the curtains, the blinds and everything. And they still have that property now and love it.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, we added a lot of value to that property when it was finished. And the thing I really love about it was we took the staircase out because the way it was designed in the beginning was not particularly practical. So I suggested we take the staircase out and have it so it turns the other way. And on doing so, we discovered an old staircase that led downstairs.
Oh my God.
So we put a little hatch in, so they had like a little bit of a storage cupboard that they could use as like a wine cellar.
Oh, that's really
which
cool.
I just thought was so cool.
Yeah, that's really
just
nice.
finding this like hidden gem. And when all the walls were stripped in the hallway, you could see it was in a fire. Because it was all black and charred. So you just sense the history of a building.
The lady behind the busined.
I am indeed.
And, the driving force.
Yep.
So let's hear your story as to how that's all come about.
Okay, so Jared and myself got married. We already had a son, Bailey.
Yes.
At the time, he was 3 years old. We got a bit bored of the dark nights in England, so we decided we were going to move abroad. We've been to Florida a couple of times and decided to take the plunge. So we sold my house, his house, and we bought a 130-seater diner in Clearwater in Florida.
It's such a big move. Let's just talk about a little bit of fun side of it and the enjoyment you get out of it, and what you love best about doing your job.
Well, it's not explaining what I do, so sorry if that came across awful.
That's okay.
What I like the most is that we are accessible for anyone, whether you are a sole trader or if you are a company that's going through, massive growth pains. We're not so expensive that the sole traders don't want to work with us, and we're also not so cheap that corporations want to avoid us. The part of the AV Club, which is something I created when I spoke to a couple of people, and I was talking about a recent hack that had happened at Capita, actually, a huge company completely disabled their workforce for like 3 weeks.
Wow.
And they was like, what's antivirus?
Really?
And I nearly fell off my chair, and I was like, I don't come from a tech background, but it's so rife at the minute, and it's so sophisticated that even I look at some things and I'm like, is it legitimate? I'm not sure. And they said, well, we don't know how to get it. We could just buy something off the internet, and that could be malicious. And I was like, actually, what a good point.
Yeah.
It's not normally something that we just sell individually. We normally do it for people who have IT support. So I actually separated it. It's $3.99 a month.
Is it?
Plus VAT per computer.
I think this is really cool how sort of really big celebrities support you.
Yeah.
He mentioned that someone had a wish list to go up to Heston Blumenthal's, the Fat Duck.
Yes, that's right.
And then he's going to support you and get some more runners. And that's awesome, isn't it?
It is. It's amazing. Yeah, we've got a 17-year-old young man that's an aspiring chef, and he wanted to make some products in Heston's kitchen. Yeah. And we reached out through one of our contacts, and we were invited up to the Mandarin Oriental in London. Right. We actually put up the family there for the night as well, so they had an amazing experience. Yeah. And Heston came. They got the chef's table, so the whole family came and they had the amazing kind of culinary experience. Yeah. And I just mentioned to Heston that we'd had this run coming up, so now 5 of the team at the Fat Duck in Bray are going to be running it for us as well, which is absolutely fantastic.
What's with the orange? There's orange everywhere. I mean,
there
the wall is orange.
It's death by orange.
I love it. It's so vibrant and cheerful. It's nice.
It is. Well, that's what we're about. Really, is we are very energetic and I hope bring a lot of colour to what we do. Obviously, I can't wear my orange today. I'll blend into the background.
Just see your face.
But it's nice. Chloe's actually got orange nails today. You might have seen, yes. So she's living the brand as well. Basically, when I had my first logo design, when the business first started, there was an orange option, and I leant towards that, obviously, and we went with it. Yeah. It's evolved a little bit more to be even more orange over time. But actually, some years later, it turned out I had my colours done as a gift for my 40th birthday. Okay. And it turns out that orange is actually one of my colours. So I can live and breathe the brand, and often you'll see me in an orange dress or orange coat
I have seen
or
you
something.
In orange dress. Yeah. Oh, it's meant to be, isn't it? That colour. Yeah.
And it does make us memorable, and it does make the office a nice bright place.
So now there's many other clinics in the area, and or in Sussex. So tell us a little bit about what makes you different from those other clinics.
Well, I think with my last company and this company, the difference between this clinic, probably more so than even the one that I opened before, is it's about having a good team around you.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think that, so many small businesses have trouble with their staff and getting the right team. You can't run a business without a good team around you.
Absolutely.
But I think one of the biggest differences that anyone that has a cosmetic surgery treatment or a procedure, sometimes it takes them a long time to pick that phone up in response to an advertisement. Yeah. So we want people to feel that we are approachable, that we care, and that we know them all by their name, and that we're not just a cattle market of next person in, and it's not all about the money. Obviously, it's a business.
Of course, yeah.
But at the same time, we want people to know that we care about their outcome.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do that without my team.
Podcast goes out to a lot of business owners. So please, if you want to get involved with Chris's charity, then go on the website, do a monthly donation. And it's great all round.
Yeah, even if it's a $5.
Yeah,
would be that'd
Absolutely.
be unbelievable.
Yeah.
£60 for a year, but you've got that £60 coming.
500 businesses did that every year. It'd be all right, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's what dreams are made of.
Exactly. I sometimes have a few days off, and I don't work all the time because I don't want to.
Yes.
But some of my business friends take the mickey out of me.
Yeah.
Thinking because I have a nap on an afternoon or something like that. But I think that's positive.
That's actually really healthy.
But people look at me as if say, no, you're lazy, or you haven't got enough drive, but that's the world we live in.
Yes,
and that's part of the danger, isn't it?
Yes, yes, because we're taught that you've got to be doing all the time, otherwise you're lazy.
Yeah,
but actually, that's where we're finding burnout. That's where we're finding anxiety, stress, depression. In the workplace because people are struggling.
Yeah,
they're not finding that time, and we were speaking about it before the disconnection that the world has now with. This new world of hybrid working.
Yep.
I do contract for a technology company, so I'm in the corporate world and I work remotely. But it's that intimate connection you have with your colleagues that's not there anymore for a lot of people. You know, people are either like I'm remote, or other people are hybrid working, so they don't have that collaboration.
Yeah, and you lose that human touch. And I think as human beings, you need to be around other human beings to a certain extent. Yeah. It's okay to be alone, but that's not being lonely. But it's okay to be alone. I think.
We're herd animals. We're herd creatures.
Now, new website launched.
Yes. So no, we've been. We've had our Forest HR website for quite some time. Yeah. Obviously, like I said, when we were then looking at having the Forest Group with the different businesses below them, we had then the different websites sort of separate to that. We've now just consolidated it all together, updated it with some of the content and stuff in there. That's live. So
excellent. Okay, so the URL for that is
theforestgroup.co.uk.
Okay, all right. So anyone check that out. What sort of businesses are you looking for? Is there a niche for it, or is there an industry specific, or not really?
No, not really. Not really industry. Good clients for us would be hotels and care homes. Okay, because we can, for their fire safety stuff that they need on a monthly and yearly basis, we can pretty much tick all the boxes, from the fire extinguishers to the fire doors to the pack testing. Yeah, they're all really important for these for these companies, and we can sort of cover all of that area for them, so that one business sort of does all as such. And we also, as you know from the website, we work in partnership with local companies, so Airtight Security, Eastbourne, Fire Alarm Maintenance, Summit Environmental, so we work in partnership with a lot of these, so we can generally, when it comes to a building like a hotel, we can be their clients, and we can pretty much cover the whole of their building.
I think what's good about here in the Amara clinic where you're working from is it doesn't feel clinical. It's such a lovely space, and I think that must be really important when clients come and see you for the comfort, and for them to make them feel at home or relaxed.
Yeah, definitely. I think for a lot of patients, they've been through this journey, and it can be quite a lengthy journey for a lot of them. That association with the clinical sort of setting is not necessarily positive for some people, and it's just nice to remove them from that and make it a little bit more homely. Absolutely, the Amara is a beautiful setting. For us, we've been collaborating with the Amara for a little while now, and it had to be the right feel. And coming into a women's health setting is perfect for us, because it could offer almost like the holistic sort of care for our patients, which is so important.
What do you like best about what you do? What do you like the most?
I actually prefer being on the tools, if I'm honest.
Do you? Yeah. Back in the old days, rolling your sleeves up.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah. But unfortunately, you can't be a business owner and be on the tools. I've done that for a long time. Yeah. And it takes over your life a little bit if you go that way. Yeah. But yeah, for me now it's problem solving, looking after customers, keeping people happy, and looking after the staff, which I think we do quite well. They all seem very happy, and it's nice having a nice team around. It's like having a second family. Yeah, it's nice. I was going to say, what's the most challenging thing? But sometimes a lot of business owners do say it's having controlling your team, or making sure your team are the right team in place, making sure they're rewarded. Making sure they do a good job. Would you agree with that? Is that I would say so. Yeah. I think the hardest part is finding decent staff.
Right. Okay.
And, keeping hold of them doesn't seem to be an issue for us. We seem to have a great retention rate, but when it's finding the right person, I find it hard to suffer fools. Yeah. And if they're not the right fit, then they've got to go, and I get rid of them pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, I guess you got to.
But my longest standing member at the moment is 9.5 years.
Oh, great! Yeah.
And there was one before that was even longer, but he decided to go travelling. So.
Okay. Damn that man. Yeah. Tell us a bit about Trinity School then. Tell us about the facilities and what you can offer there.
Yeah. So the facilities, the location's absolutely outstanding.
Yeah. So where is it in Devon?
So it's just up from Torquay. So about 10 minutes from Exeter. So it's kind of perfectly really central. In between those two towns and cities, so right on the coast, so easy access to the airport, where obviously international students can fly, and also obviously Exeter is a very cosmopolitan city, a lovely city to visit. So it's located really, really well, and obviously the benefit of being right by the sea, overlooking the water, comes in handy, and it's a very safe place. I think you kind of Devon in general, the southwest, has become extremely popular since COVID because I think a lot of people have realised the beauty and kind of that work balance type people have relocated there, and that's kind of now passed on, and it's a thriving area because of obviously the beauty and kind of what it can offer families and young people growing up.
You're pleased that we're working together?
I'm delighted we're working together, and yes, I mean, when we were talking at the Barra Club that time, I felt there was a certain connection between us. That we similar-minded people. We could work together. I think I went away and then contacted you after and said, I'm really keen to do this. Let's set something up.
That's it.
I go by my gut feeling. And if I feel that this is the right sort of person to work with, then I will go with it. And obviously you've got a great connection in Tunbridge Wells through your brilliant business. It was a natural in my book, an absolute natural, because you're good at what you do, and I think you will be a natural at the business show as well.
Thank you. We're lucky with the Brilliant Businesses concept that we've built up a really big audience already that we can tap into to get to that show. It really does support the Brilliant Businesses brand, not only in Tunbridge Wells, but of course we've now got Matt helping us in Brighton. And in the Sussex area, and of course Maidstone and Sevenoaks, they all drop into Tunbridge Wells as well. And I'm delighted to say we've got some exhibitors already that are coming up from Sussex. And
somebody comes up to you at a networking event or an investor or something, where you bump into somebody and they go, "So what do you do?" What do you tell them? Do you tell them everything and hope that something sticks, or do you tell them one or two things that they remember so they can tell others? And then we go through the archetypes, so it's very classical. The archetypes of you and your business and how you all fit in and where you see yourself in the market and within your own business. Because if you don't know who you are as a business, you don't know the type of clients you're going to go for.
Another question for you. 5 people that you'd have on a desert island.
Oh my days.
To talk to.
Now you've given me something really to mull over. I think I'm a classical music buff.
Yes.
And I love strings. I think Yehudi
Menuhin
would be one. I know the gentleman passed away in 1999, but there are times when I've listened to the music. I think most of the members of Fleetwood Mac.
Wouldn't that be
Stevie
good?
Nicks, Christine McVie, Lindsay Buckingham.
They got some stories.
Oh my days. Well, I saw Fleetwood Mac together with Christine McVie, and she sang Songbird.
Wow.
And you could hear a pin drop. I mean, there were people that were welling up. I had a
grown people, grown adults.
I know, and when she passed, I was very upset. But no, it's fantastic group.
That we was going to ask us about all different kinds of lens types.
Yep.
Should we run through those?
Sure.
Yeah.
Essentially, you have single vision lenses, which does what it says on the tin. It just has one focus, basically. And you have the old-fashioned bifocal. So you have
top and the bottom,
the segment and line across that. So, and of course, mostly varifocal. Varifocal's now 65% probably of what I do.
Right. Okay.
So, because you get 3 focal lengths, you get distance, you get intermediate arm's length. Typically, where you look at a computer screen. And reading as well. So that is the lens of choice for most people.
Okay.
But we can, I can offer all sorts of different materials.
Is there something that Cy got recently? Did he win an award of some sort?
Cy's actually, this is year 2. He's earned an amazing award, which is called FAB, Service Stars, which is PHAB, and it's an industry recognition of his service, commitment to service, his performance. So it's an equivalent to a Michelin star within the hair and beauty industry. So he's earned that, and he wears that with pride, and it's really something quite unique. It's something that's a national service star, but it's also something where not many people, there's a lot of mediocre out there, but he excels in his field. So it's recognising excellence in his standards of work and his commitment and his performance within the industry. So he's
good for him. So is that voted by some industry bodies, or it's not voted by the people? Or?
It's actually a measured tool that he goes through a criteria within the FAB process, and what they do is look at everything So his customer testimonials, his performance in terms of his consistency within his work, the numbers, the KPI numbers, and also his general interview of what makes him different to any other hairdresser. And that's what he's recognised for, his excellence. So above average, that's what we like.
Yeah, we like that. Yeah, well done, Si.
So it's an extraordinary character, and he creates extraordinary work. And we love him to be recognised.
So offer finance with Dojo, don't you?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we offer this unique way of paying for it, paying it back as well. It's called business funding, and basically you can borrow anything from £1,000 to £1 million.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
But you don't pay it from your bank account. What happens is they take it out of your Dojo takings each day.
Oh, I see. Right.
So this is the great thing about it. So you could borrow £10,000 at 10%.
Yeah.
Right? So if you borrow £10,000 at 10%, and that's agreed, then if you take 1,000 in a day, they take £100 to pay the £10,000 back.
Nice.
If you don't take anything, they won't take any money.
Yeah.
And if you take 20,000, they'll take £2,000 to.
Nice.
So you're paying it on your own terms. You're paying it pro rata, the money you take each day.
Yeah. So it's good for your cash flow, isn't it?
It's good for your cash flow, and it really helps businesses in these lean times.
Yeah.
You know, I have a lot of seasonal businesses, and they struggle in this winter. So having a few quid in their bank account helps them through, and generally they're paid off within 10 or 11 months.
Yeah, because it just goes through their takings.
Yeah, and you can only borrow 80% of your turnover, so you can never overextend yourself.
Yeah,
it's a really, really unique way of doing it, and a lot of customers, a lot of businesses are going for it at the moment.
A child suddenly, you feel very alone.
Yes.
And then I had the added complexity of the fact that it was the suicide, and all the emotions, guilt, that goes with that.
Think, do you know what?
It doesn't matter.
I've got my health, I've got my beautiful daughter, I've now got a roof over my head. But yeah, there was 6 months when I was kind of sofa surfing, Hampstead Heath, sitting on benches, and then I did get a job that was enough for me to get
some
to get a deposit
house.
on. I still couldn't afford to buy a house, but I rent. So I learned. So when you get to the lowest of the low, you can only get better.
And over 10 years, we both, me and my brother, we built a £7 million business.
Did you? Wow.
So both in Dublin, we built it organically to about kind of £3-4 million turnover, and then we had an opportunity to buy a business in Belfast, where we nearly doubled our turnover overnight.
Wow.
We had about 42 staff, but after 10 years, I sold that business. It was a lot of pressure.